Winona Ryder had actually shot some of it. So like Winona Ryder was like, the it girl of like the
Yeah.
late like 80s or whatever.
Yeah.
So, contemporary people might know her as the mom on Stranger Things, but she was like that girl in like the mid to late 80s, right? And so she had actually she had taken the part. She was cast. She would have been really good probably as Mary Corleone, but she ended up having like some anxiety issues, and then she also had a commitment to the movie Mermaids, which came out the same year as the movie that she did with Cher. So she had like she was trying to do two movies or whatever, not at the same time, but she had like these commitments. So she basically had a bunch of nervous anxiety and dropped out of the movie. So they thought about casting Madonna. They thought about casting Annabella Sciorra. She's from Jungle Fever.
Mm-hmm.
She's in, I can't remember what she was in recently. Like there was something that she was in recently, and I cannot think of what it is. But she was one that they thought about casting. And so like they thought that Madonna would be too old. I actually think that Madonna would have been really good in that role, but I'm glad that she didn't do it, because she needed to have done Evita later, and she wouldn't have done that later. But anyway, so I think that like Sofia Coppola, like taking that part, like she was a teenager, Mary was literally a teenager. I think it was the right move on Coppola's part, and I think that what she brought to the role is that she's like a real kid getting up and playing this role of a real kid, and she brings that, and she kind of brings some of that like 1980s teenager, like she's got a little sneer as she's talking or whatever, and she's bringing that realness to the movie. And yeah, it's her first movie, and I don't think she ever acted again. She's a director like her dad now and whatever, but I think that for somebody to take on a big role like that, and really like you could argue that she's like the center of the movie,
Mm-hmm.
honestly.
Yes.
Sure.
That's a lot, and that's a lot of pressure. And I just think that I think that if her last name had been anything else, had been anything other than Coppola, people would have said different
Would have been different.
about her. But I think that character of Mary, especially because I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't really know what was going to happen at the end. I remember family members like saying, like my mom saying, like whenever she went to go see it in the theater, like I remember her talking about like somebody dying or whatever at the end, and how like she couldn't sleep like at night, like after she went to go see the movie, like she like that last scene, like I didn't know who she was talking about. I didn't know what was going on, so I'm just like, okay, whatever, somebody's gonna die, like whatever. And it's like, oh, it's the death of Michael Corleone, I guess he's gonna die. And then and then it wasn't him. He wasn't. It was like, oh, it's